Hi, my name's Andrew Belzile. I'm a member of CGI, more specifically our global technology operations team in the US. So a bit more on me. I've been with CGI for 10 years, straight out of school. Yeah, it's certainly been interesting. I've been running our IP Center program for the last 4 years in the US. I've came on board day one that we went live. So I wasn't part of the design implementation phase. I just started my first day with new colleagues, and my challenge was implementing IP Center in our data center. Yeah. So just to give you guys kind of a picture, and this is really going to be a story of our IP Center journey for us. It's been 4 years now. So I'll start off from the beginning. The challenges that we came in trying to resolve were on here. So improve automation capabilities. So we already had some automation going on, very limited, not certainly as advanced as we saw today, at least with a lot of the products IPsoft had. Improve our monitoring capabilities. We already have monitoring, of course, but I think we wanted to bring it to the next level and really be much more proactive in the monitoring that we were doing. And that kind of walks into my third point, which was introduce proactive processes to reduce service downtime. So instead of being reactive to outages that our customers were experiencing, we wanted to position ourselves in a place where we would be able to tell our clients that they had an issue instead of them calling us, which seems easy, but I don't know if there's a lot of people in the IT field that's really hard to achieve. C-level dashboard. So our executive team, even our client, they wanted to have that bird's eye view, that high level view of everything that's going on within our data center. When you're doing managed services like we do, we manage over 140 clients within the US, and it's kind of hard to keep track. Some are big, some are smaller. Our executives want to see the bird's eye view. Some of our clients want to see their stuff. Sometimes some of our clients have 2-3 clients within our own services, so they want to see their 3 clients together and not split out. FedRAMP certification. So I don't know if some of you are accustomed to what FedRAMP is. So we provide services to the federal government. So we provide a private cloud to multiple federal agencies. Now, to be able to provide that private cloud to federal agencies, you need to be FedRAMP certified, which is probably the most stringent set of certifications I've ever seen. So it's not only hard to get certified, but it's hard to keep it, because you have to maintain it, not just on an annual basis, but just month to month. Now, a bit more on the FedRAMP side. Just maintaining it, what that means is you have to patch. So you have to scan your whole environment on a monthly basis, detect vulnerabilities, patch them within 30 to 90 days, depending on the severity of it. And when you're running an application like IP Center that's pretty complex, introducing constant patching to the system could be very challenging, and I'll go into that, but IPsoft has really been a good partner with us on that. So far for us, and this is just our 4-year journey, and I just really want to cut to the chase and go to Q&A, but our results so far, so we've had a 4-year story of implementing IP Center. We've had our up and downs. The first year I'd say was pretty rough, but after that, it's been pretty good. So, and up to now, it's been pretty good results. So on the AR side, which is automated resolution, if anyone's used any of IPsoft's products, 60% of our, on average, 60% of the tickets that we get generated from monitoring are resolved by automation. The stuff that's not resolved by automation is usually a bit more complex. So we're trying to get higher. Some clients will be very high, but because we have 140 clients, it's really now we're at a situation where we have to go client by client, use case by use case. So it's really going to be hard for us to get much higher than that. I think we can maybe get 70. Some clients will see a high 80, 85, but there's just some clients that, it's not worth spending the money to get it higher, because ultimately it's just going to cost you more in automation than it does in just having someone do it, right? Customer satisfaction. So we saw a 10% increase in customer satisfaction. So we have a process within CGI that we do with all our customers every year. It's called our CSAT process. We sit down with them, see if they're happy. There's a big survey. It's very ingrained in our culture that survey really drives everything we do at CGI. So a bad score will kick off a lot of very bad processes that on our side to really improve service for the customer. And it's a good thing. I mean, it drives excellence. So 10% satisfaction might seem small, but when you're going from the high 8s to the 9s, it's a huge jump. It's like something remarkable when you do the 10-year trend. Now, how do you get a higher client satisfaction? Reduce outages. So we reduced client impacting outages by about 30% on average. And I'm not talking small ones like Sev 3, Sev 4s, really Sev 1, Sev 2s, where there's a significant impact on the client side that might result in financial loss. So for us, that 30% downtime reduction was really big. And that's a result of a lot of things. So automation, that's resolving small issues that would have caused client impact before. Because of the monitoring that we finally tuned with IP Center, when we see a P1, P2 come in, it's probably the only P1, P2 that's coming in. So for 140 clients, that's pretty good. So when it comes in, we act on it right away. And 90% of our incidents now, we usually know before our client calls us. Sometimes we'll even tell our client there's an issue and they're just noticing it, or it's just going up their process change of their own customers calling them and telling them they have an issue, which is great. It's a position you want to be in. Issues happen. I mean, you can't avoid all the issues, but at least if you're in a position where you're telling your customers that an issue is happening before they call you, they're happier. And FedRAMP certification, well, we achieved it within the first year with IPSoft, and we've maintained it to this date. Ups and downs. Some months were harder because of some of the vulnerabilities that were detected. But overall, it's been pretty good. And they've been really a great partner at working with us with just keeping that. And I think we're the only IP Center platform that is FedRAMP certified. So at least from the IPSoft side, I have to give them their due. And they've really been a good partner with us to get that done. Financial results. So we had a business case for 5 years, and we did it in 3 years. So 4 years in, pretty much we've achieved our business case after 3. So now it's just plus, which is amazing. For us at least, the business side is really good. The financial side, even better. So now we're in a position where we're going to market with pretty good pricing for our customers, and we're able to achieve all our internal metrics around financial, and we're really in a great position in the US now, thanks to all the hard work that we've done with the implementation in the last few years. C-level dashboard. So I don't know if anyone got to our booth today. I wasn't there all the time, but I could explain it quickly to you guys. So we initially thought that IP Center could provide that C-level dashboard for us. But it quickly became apparent that it was going to be very hard to get that done. They silo out the clients very well, which is a good thing because you don't want client data mixing up together. But it's a bad thing when you're a managed service provider and you want to see the bird's eye view of everything that's going on. So we have a very bright engineer on my team that developed something very simple, very easy to deploy. We essentially have a slave database that's running off our master database for IP Center. And he just put Microsoft SSRS on top of it and built our own custom dashboard. So our own rules around the data, but it's essentially live data from IP Center. Refreshed, we can have it refresh every 5 minutes. And this is really a main focal point in our operations. All our executives, all our leadership in our group have access to this, and they watch it all the time. So when there's a bad day or when they see big up pumps, because they tell you right away. We have daily operational huddles with our whole operation team, and we always go through these metrics. So every key metric here can tell us, if we're having an overall trend of ticket upticks. That means there's something going on, right? In a multi-client environment like we're running, you might not see it on a per client basis, but having this bird's eye view can tell you, well, if we went up 50%, what's up? Same thing, just from an operational standpoint between our clients, knowing how our tickets are aging, knowing, who's picking up those tickets. If we have a big uptick in unassigned tickets, that means our engineers aren't picking up. And now, the only part that we haven't really done is include the automation in this. So in a daily, like let's say tickets closed today 232, if you apply our average automation rate, probably 60% of those were closed by automation, and the rest were not. And that includes user-submitted tickets as well. So it's not just monitoring tickets. We wanted to really just keep the global number there and not introduce automation. There's a lot of reasons why, but overall, it paints a better picture. So yeah, that's it. And so for us, at least market trends, and this is where we're going. So what's big for us right now is hybrid cloud. I don't know if everyone else does managed services, but pretty much every single deal we're working on today is Azure AWS. Some Google, but mostly Azure AWS. And that's really what we're working on. So the great thing with the platform that we have with IP Center, at least for now, is we've been able to support clients that have infrastructure in their own data centers, infrastructure in our data center, and infrastructure in Azure and AWS, all out of the same platform. So that's a huge plus for us. We don't have to buy a separate tool set for cloud, buy a separate tool set for their stuff. We've been able to extend the platform we have into all these different environments. And continuing on, it's still going to be a trend. Azure is not going away, AWS not going away. It's just going to continue to grow. So support for native cloud services. So this is the one we're mostly working on today. A lot of the Azure and AWS deals we're working on are using a lot of very native cloud services like database as a service. That's the big one that we're really, and the support is very different. So you can support the database itself in a similar fashion as you do for a database that's hosted on a server, but the monitoring of the service itself that's running off Azure or AWS is very different. So we're working with IPsoft to try to figure out what's the best approach. How can we integrate some of the native monitoring tools that are included with Azure and AWS and make sure we get that and still have that single pane of glass mentality, which it's great. You don't want to be looking at stuff in 5 different tools. So that's the big challenge we're working on today. And the one we see on the horizon is containers. So a lot more of our clients are going to applications that are purely built on containers. Well, we're currently strategizing on, how do we operationalize that? It's a great concept. I love containers, but you have to bring it into the operational world of actually supporting it, with your current processes without changing the wheel, right? Now, just to close it off, I think we have a pretty good success story with our IP Center implementation, but you can't buy success. You have to build success. So what that means is, you can't just buy a tool, put it in, and boom, you're done. When we decided to go on the IP Center journey, we had to do a big culture change on our side as well and change our processes and really change the way we worked. And luckily, we had a great leadership team that was on board, a great team within CGI that, pretty much overall everyone was on board. And that's why we were able to really turn this around into a great success story for us. And Q&A. So questions? Yes, sir.
When you talked about database as a service, you talked about some of the differences between some of the tools that Azure and AWS provide. And in thinking about it, I'm thinking that there's likely at least 2 other sets. You've got IP Center and whatever IP Center is bringing to the table in terms of monitoring and management capabilities, and then you also have whatever the native toolkits are for SQL Server, Oracle, or SQL, whatever it is. So how do you go through the process of adjudicating through those different tools and mechanisms, management mechanisms, to be able to rationalize them?
So our approach on that has been, we've taken an approach where we're trying to use native capabilities of the tools as much as possible. So for example, I'll just take Oracle monitoring as an example. So we could have taken the approach of trying to use tools provided by Oracle to monitor their databases, right? So then we would have to go through an integration with IPsoft, and then we would have had to do some custom writing on their automation engineers to really leverage all the native automation capabilities they have. Or we could just use the native monitoring from IP Center, make sure it worked for our needs, get all the things we need to monitor, and then we could leverage their native virtual engineer. So that's the approach we took, just because you don't have to go down the route of customizations, which is, it's a road you can easily go down to. It becomes very expensive. Now with database as a service, we're able to still use those native monitoring capabilities for the database, so still have IP Center actually log into that database and do the native monitoring it can do, and not have to go down the road of using native services that Azure provide to do that monitoring and then do the integration, but then you have to customize the virtual engineers to get all the benefits from it, right? There might be a time where that's not possible, and I think it's probably going to be an interesting challenge to solve. But right now our approach is really trying to stay less complicated as possible. So, any other questions? Thank you.